We're
Hey
live.
guys, what's going on? You are watching the 12th podcast of the Bitter Juries podcast. We are here tonight to talk about the double eviction, the blindside that happened, and not only that, we have a blindside tonight. This did not go as planned. That went really terribly. Okay, anyway.
Who is that in the chat?
This is my husband, Shaun, and he is here tonight to talk about the episode that we watched.
I just watched two people get evicted, and I don't know why.
Cool, perfect, awesome.
Anyway, really quick to introduce myself. My name is Kelly.
I'm Jacob.
And last but certainly not least, my name is Lucifer. Can you hear me? Hi.
Kelly, you might want to turn your volume down a little bit on your end. I'm getting a little bit of feedback just before we jump in.
This is gonna be interesting.
Yeah. I think we need to start off by addressing Holmes's brilliant move in the episode, which is to have Plur have a what's going on over there? We're a mess right now.
Super.
Have you ever seen
Go get your
Brandon and Rachel on Rob Has a Podcast? Like, they're always such a mess together. Like, it's ridiculous.
Perfect. Okay.
Really?
So I don't feel as bad, but
and then Rachel barely even knows what she's talking about half the time. I'm like, okay.
We do need to talk about though. We do need to talk about Holmes's brilliant plan of having Plur sort of organize a house meeting to call everybody out. What do you guys think of Holmes' strategy here?
Lou, you go first.
Gosh, most definitely. I mean, you can appreciate almost getting a player wound up and then watching your own, madness occur. And then not only that, but calling out other people that Hamza might be against. It's a great move for him. I think that no doubt in my mind would he think Erica would go, Veronica would go against him. So why not just sort of unleash her wrath right before she leaves?
Yeah, absolutely. And we kind of get an idea earlier in the episode that the vote might be closer than what we initially thought. Like, Paris is thinking about keeping Veronica in the house. She's talking to Allie about keeping Veronica in the house. So it's getting close, and I think Hamza thinks, well, I need to make sure Veronica leaves because she's bad for my game at this point. So I'm going to have her sort of blow her own game up. Are you guys able to chime in?
I can chime in about this. So, like, the house meeting, it was really interesting because I actually did. Shut up, guys. I did watch the full-blown house meeting that they only showed the snippets of on the episode. And for any of you that haven't watched it, I would highly suggest it. Because what was portrayed in the episode was not the vibe that I got from the actual house meeting.
Yeah.
I agree with what you were saying, Jacob, about Hamza. It was really good for his game to try to have Claire blow up her own game, and that's exactly the meeting. The production made it seem like she might be doing okay in the end, but after the meeting was over, in reality, it did not help her whatsoever. It was very flip floppy, very confusing. So I loved watching it. It was a dumpster fire. But it did not help her whatsoever, unlike what production was trying to show.
I have to say kudos to the production team and the editing team for editing out pretty much all of the F-bombs.
Yes.
That dropped. They only put one in that whole speech. It was really incredible because I was thinking to myself, how is Canada going to stomach this? There was 70 F-bombs in that one house meeting, and they got it down to one. I thought that was incredible.
You totally nailed it, man. That was the same problem I had with the live feeds, is that she dropped so many F-bombs, and then when I saw the show of it, they like cut a lot of it out, and I said to myself, wow, that person's a really good motivational speaker. And then I was like, and then Kelly's like, that's the same person you didn't like the other night. Like, God, they did such a great job cutting that together. I was like, good for them.
Yeah. I think production at that point was trying to help Plur's game. It seemed like they cleaned her up really well. And yeah, but we get to the first eviction of the night, and what we thought was going to be a very close eviction turned out to be not close at all. Which was great. Which was great to see. Like, Plur got one vote, but were you guys surprised at all to see that Paris and Ali and the people that were campaigning for Veronica earlier in the week kind of decided, hey, this isn't a good idea?
I definitely wasn't surprised that Paris jumped ship on Veronica because if she is not going to vote for her own showmance Jesse when Jesse's going out like last week, why would she vote to keep Veronica, who she's not enjoying her company like she was with Jesse?
Right. I mean, okay, so let me just throw this out there. Is there any argument to be made that Plur is too good of a shield to let go this early?
Of course there is. There's always that argument to sort of convey that someone shouldn't go home because they're a bigger target. I mean, in my eyes, I think it was... Okay, just to kind of rewind back just a couple steps here.
Okay.
I think that the reason had it been a normal week, not a week before double eviction, I think people would have been more inclined to flip. But because it was right before a double eviction, you don't know if Ali or Olivia, which Olivia did end up winning, are going to make a move on you. So I can see where Paris and Maddie are sort of in a predicament where they don't want to make such a move, especially when they're trying to make social waves with like the Olivia Ali alliance sort of thing.
Okay, and that you touched on something that I want to sort of get educated on as somebody who's relatively new to Big Brother Canada. It seemed like everybody in the house knew that a double eviction was coming. Is it always that predictable in terms of time slot when they decide to do double and triple evictions? Because it seemed like everybody sort of strategized for a double eviction this week.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like in the past, you really actually used to be more of a shock factor, where as of now, like you have your super fans in there, you have people that are, counting the weeks and they hear things from production. So yeah, I say that this time or the last couple, like the last 4 seasons of BBUS and the last couple seasons of Big Brother Canada, I've noticed that it has become like something that the house guests can already foresee. So
yeah, it's kind of like a staple. Yeah, on top of that, I was noticing, like if you're in the house and you see that we're already at the vote and it's only been like 20 minutes since they've asked us to sit down, that would probably be a giveaway that, hey, you're probably going to be having a double eviction this week.
Right.
That's the other thing that I was thinking about.
Yeah, so we get the shocking news from Arissa that tonight is a double eviction, and we see a lot of shocked faces on the couch when nobody was shocked at all.
No. I mean, I think people in the chats were like, their bags are already packed. LOL.
Right. Yeah, I mean it's like we said, it's sort of a staple at this point. But we go right out to the backyard for a trivia.
Well, before. Oh,
okay,
actually, never mind. Just kidding. No,
okay, so
kidding.
we go right out to the backyard for a trivia competition for HOH, and we see Ryan versus Olivia in the final round.
Can we talk a little bit about that really quick?
Sure.
About the challenge before,
sure.
About like who were the people that picked who. I thought it was extremely interesting that. Well, Ryan, first of all, he picked everyone that chose him in the challenge, which I thought was incredibly smart. And Olivia chose Paris and I forget who was it, Paris and Maddie, right? Or Maddie and Paris.
Right.
And then when Paris won, she didn't even choose Olivia. She didn't even choose Olivia to like face against anyone. I mean, I think that was extremely smart because she doesn't want to show Olivia her cards against her.
Right.
or she wants to seem sort of like, oh yeah, well, I'm gonna let her kind of push me around, sort of thing. So I just wanted just to mention that really quick. What do you guys think about that? I mean, Olivia picked Paris pretty quickly, and Paris had the opportunity to pick Olivia, and she ended up picking. Who did she pick
I
again?
honestly don't remember. I do remember what stood out to me though.
She
was
picked
that-
Johnny. She picked Johnny and someone else. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
What stood out to you, Kelly?
What stood out to me was that no one picked Dayla until like the very end, and I don't
That-
get why no one picked them. Like it doesn't make any sense to me because you have this huge target where you know that it's a double eviction.
Right.
So why wouldn't you go off and at least try to go after like an obvious duo that's going to be going to the finals?
Yeah, that's what I was confused about too. Like, why not group obvious duos together? We saw them choose not to do that multiple times, where you could go after somebody like Erica and Hamza together, or
Well,
Exactly.
Erica wasn't playing, but I know what you mean.
And Will wasn't even chosen once at all. So that
or
He
not,
wasn't.
right. I'm sorry, yeah, not Erica. But yeah, the point still stands. Like, they didn't put together the couples, and I thought that's a really easy way to go. What do you think, Shaun?
Well, I feel like Erica really ruffled a lot of feathers, and she didn't do a very good job with the management of the house.
Okay.
But I also agree, if you know that it's a double eviction, why are you going for these targets that they didn't seem... I get one of them and how they were like a random, like they were more of a random card, right? Right? But there were definitely bigger targets in the game to go after, and I don't understand why that is either, other than
We're talking about during the HOH.
during HOH?
Yeah.
Of the competition, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. Like, there were definitely some picks that you could have gone after rather than... I know, people tend to do a lot of safe moves early.
Yeah.
A lot of safe moves early in the game, and you typically don't see people go after those very obvious targets in the game.
So
Right.
you think that people were splitting them up because it's like a safe thing to do? I think that's fair. I think that's some fair analysis. But we do eventually get to the point where Olivia, shockingly enough, got to the end of a competition with Ryan. Was anybody else surprised to see Olivia at the end of this competition?
I was surprised to see it be Olivia and Ryan. That was really interesting.
Honestly, Ryan looks like Ryan, and Olivia plays just like I think Olivia would play. Like, I shit you not, that those people definitely look and play their parts. They play them really well.
Yeah. So why are you surprised to see Ryan at the end of a trivia competition, Kelly?
Oh, not at all.
No, I don't know. Like, because maybe it's just due to his past performance on most all of the other competitions that I wasn't expecting him to do well in this one.
That's funny because, like, as soon as I saw, okay, this is a trivia competition, I was like, Ryan is gonna win HOH.
Yeah, I
Like,
was shocked that Allie got out so quickly against Olivia.
Yeah.
That sucks that they were put up against each other.
Oh,
yeah. So, but we see Ryan get a question wrong, and in the final, do you think he was throwing that, or do you think he legitimately
No
was just wrong
way
about
in hell was he throwing that.
Right, I
Yeah,
didn't think
I
it would
don't
make
think so
sense.
either.
No,
I didn't think it would make sense, but I was surprised to see him get a trivia question wrong.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Maddie would do better as well. Maddie, like people like Maddie and
Paris.
Allie and Johnny are always studying, so it's
Yeah.
interesting. And Paris, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we see an Olivia HOH followed by a hurried conversations in the pantry
Oh my.
where Johnny gets his claws out.
He does.
He
did.
super did.
He
Oh,
did.
Oh, that was my favorite part.
Okay, talk about it, Shaun. Why was it your favorite part?
Because, okay, so Olivia won, right?
Yeah.
And then they go into the back room, and then they have to make a decision. And then Johnny goes back there, right?
Yeah.
And he gets right up to her. And she's the first thing she says is, "I have some like,
Don't be mad at
don't
me.
be mad at me." He's like, "You cannot, you can't F me on this." And I was just like, man, it's so good for that guy. Like, I did not expect that from him, and like, I hope that carries him further into the game.
Yeah, it was really good to see Johnny start to play on these edited episodes. I know he's a huge player, but was really good to see him sort of make a threat that worked. It worked, guys. It worked. I think it would have been a smarter move for Maddie to go on the block for Olivia's game. But what do you guys think?
So the only reason now, are we talking about initial noms or like after
initial?
After, yeah, right.
So initially, I wouldn't have wanted Maddie on the block only because she has shown that if I want to get Maddie out, she's shown that she can actually show up at least a little bit to comps. Because we saw that in the last veto. So I thought that it was smart for her to not put Maddie up. Do I want to comment now about after the veto, or should I save that?
Let's save that because we need to talk about the other initial nom, which was Ryan. And
if I might just tap in here,
yeah.
So back to the pantry. I thought it was extremely interesting that Johnny has really come to play. I mean, he can hide out and play the nice, quiet boy all he wants, but that moment really showed, don't cross me, don't do it. And I think what was going on was he was not feeling included with the whole getting Veronica out, and they expected him to just do what they said. So when they're going to put up another person that he trusts in the game, he's like, no, you guys have all your relationships, don't mess with mine. Like, don't do it, especially when I'm doing your dirty work, and especially when we have a good working relationship. You guys are doing all these things, and it's just shady. And so I think in the next upcoming weeks, that will leak, and I think Johnny could potentially flip to, like, Paris and Maddie, just saying.
Yes. See, I love to see Johnny play because I think he's playing the cleanest game so
and he's
far.
already allies with Will, so it just, like, would be a perfect, like, thing.
Yeah. It's very interesting. This house isn't like other houses. It's very much sort of amalgamous. Everybody's sort of glopped together. There's no real this side versus that side, and it really comes through when you see Ryan on the block as a nominee next to Marin. Like, who would have thought those two? Like, why not put up the showmans? Why is nobody putting up the showmans?
Well, I thought it was extremely smart of Olivia. She's going into this next week with no blood on her hands. Okay, excuse me. She has blood on Ryan and Marin. Who the hell cares? They have no numbers in the house. They have no leverage. I thought it was brilliant of her to do that because you go to Kayla, who can get leverage, or you go to, if you put Derek up, one of them's going to stay. And the other one could have leverage. You know, Derek has leverage with the guys. Kayla has leverage with some of the girls. Like, I thought it was extremely smart on Olivia's end.
See, I think, like, in my mind, double evictions are the perfect time to target obvious pairs. And I feel like the house missed an opportunity to target Adela or target, people that are going to obviously work together. Like,
But everyone knows that they're working together already. And the thing is that what's happening right now is in the house. This last week, it's been exposed that Dela has been making, like, the final five with Hamza and Will and Veronica, and they also, their credibility is slammed to the ground at this point. Why not keep two huge targets? Why allow the Hamzas of the world to run rampant in the house, or the Marins and the Ryans to not be on their ass? Why?
Because as it goes later and later in the game, it's harder and harder to get pairs out.
Yeah, but there's no way that Dela or Derek are going to make it final two, Jillian and Emmett style. There's no way. It's not going to happen. They don't have.
So here's my theory about why, because, like, I've just been going through this, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, but Arissa never said that jury was going to be starting next week. So my theory is that kind of what you guys have been saying, where you want to target bigger players later on. Like, you want to try to target bigger players later on in the game. Like, you want to get them out now, but, like, the obvious targets, get them out a little bit. And I have a feeling that had Arissa said that after tonight, everyone else is going to be going to jury, I have a feeling that Dayla probably would have been targeted, because at that point, people realize, okay, we've kind of gotten to a place where we can start making the bigger moves. But it really seems like everyone is just trying to make as few moves as possible until it's the right time. Like, they're all waiting for their right moment. And so I think that because we don't know when jury's starting quite yet, that's why.
I agree.
Frustrating.
Yeah, nice.
I
That's
do
a good
agree with you,
theory.
Jacob, that double evictions are for big moves. And I wish that this had been done. I wish that Dayla had been targeted.
So I'm gonna ask you a question, and I don't mean to be critical. I don't mean this question to be critical of the show at all. But do you think that since Big Brother has now become a huge strategy game where there are super fans and where people know what to expect, even though the motto is expect the unexpected, that there's less room for these shocking moments, these crazy blindsides now than there were in previous seasons?
No, that's a great question. Actually, that's a really great question. Yeah, I think that we, as feedsters, people that watch the feeds, people that keep up with the updates outside of the outside of the show, they are getting extremely frustrated because people are just sheeping other players like Paul or bigger players like Derek or et cetera, and people get really upset because there's not that shock factor anymore. So I think in Big Brother Canada, there's more chance of a shock factor because, I mean, 2 seasons ago when Levita was put on the block, I kind of didn't expect that, even though she was double eviction bait. I didn't think that they were just going to turn on her that quickly, especially when she could have been a target in front of them next week,
Right.
So
the thing that sort of makes me sad is that, like, as people that love the show and watch the show, like, it seems like this season has become very, very predictable. In that, like, you're not gonna see a huge move that you're like, wow, like, I'm so surprised X is going home because it's been talked about for a week. And that's to me a symptom of having players that know the game super, super well. What do you think, Kelly?
Well,
And Shaun?
I'm gonna run over Kelly here really quick.
Yeah.
But I think just like any kind of party system, you have a conformity that starts to happen, and people go with what works. So I think that when you're talking about that shock factor, like a surprise or a twist, I don't know if this is more saying the players and the moves that the players make, or more of production and who production puts in there, because I know there's like a random system that kind of goes with it, but I feel like without having those wild cards that are in the game, those people that make those decisions that do give you that shock factor and that do make you upset and get you a little uncomfortable, you're gonna see less surprises. So
I think you're absolutely right. That was some great analysis, Shaun. Like, I think that's we sort of see the same the same sort of players into this house, and like Hamza is that grenade to the house that would put up unpredictable targets. But yeah, let's get to the next bit of fun, which was the veto competition, which to me seemed really, really simple for a veto competition. What did you guys think of the pinball themed veto competition?
Yeah, it seemed pretty simple. I mean, I did like it. I thought there was one point where we saw someone throw, I think Paris hit like the target, but then it didn't end up going down. That was kind of frustrating to see. Yeah. Not that it mattered because she didn't end up winning it, thank God, because then that would have like made the difference.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, simple, simplistic, easy setup.
I don't know. To me, if I was in the game, I think I would have found, one of those games would have been a challenge because one relies on memory, the other one, the pinball one, I have poor hand-eye coordination, so somebody would have got hurt.
Yeah. And we got this. We heard about a photo finish that we didn't get to see really. Like the camera angle on the competition didn't tell us how close it was between Marin and Ryan winning that veto. Did you guys notice it, or was that just me?
I noticed it.
No, me too.
Because I couldn't understand why Marin was shocked that Ryan was announced to have won the veto, and I feel like usually we get to see those photo finishes. So I was a little bit disappointed that we didn't actually get to see how close that competition was.
Especially because BB Can they tape their episodes early, so it had to have been that there wasn't was there just not a camera on Marin at the time?
The only camera that I saw was the wide shot that had every board encapsulated. They didn't go to Marin and single him out one time. Not that I remember. Did you guys see that at all?
Oh yeah, no, I totally overlooked that. The camera didn't go to him. You're right.
Yeah. So it seemed like it's like a production oversight, but I would have really liked to see the what was called the photo finish, but we didn't get to see it. But we see that Ryan wins this POV, and unsurprisingly, he uses it on himself. And we have to see Olivia make a decision. And she makes a decision that I think all of us were just kind of like, why? But it kind of makes sense. Let's talk about it. Who wants to talk about a Hamza going
No.
up on the block? He's not gone yet, guys. He's up on the block. What
I
do you
literally
guys think about
cried.
this decision?
I
Yeah,
cried.
but you know that whoever she puts up, that's because it's Marin. And people are going to get Marin out. So whoever
Honestly,
is going up against Marin is going home.
yeah,
Okay.
and that was literally one of the most emotional, back doors I've ever seen. Aside from, yeah, no, that was very emotional. That was the one of the emotional.
I do have to say, that when I called Hamza a pencil in the first episode of this season, that was very, very I said that he had the personality of a pencil, and I sincerely take that back 100%. I thought he was playing a role, and he really is that person as a human being, and it was really cool to see him sort of comfort. I even Marin in that chair the way that he did, knowing probably that he's going home. I thought that was really cool, and it showed really what his character is about. And I wish he was still in the game, but I mean, it's what happens. Do you guys have any analysis to add?
I think it's almost because I was just like, wow, how is everyone on the same beat? I think it's like one of those things. It's like when you just put up someone that everyone as a house could just not be. It becomes quite obvious what you need to do when he's up against Marin.
Yeah,
So,
I mean the thing is, and this goes back to what we were talking about, it's because he's an atom bomb. Nobody could predict him. That's why he went home, and that makes me sad for the show a little bit, because it becomes a little bit more predictable now. It becomes a little bit more vanilla. In its execution, because I look at the house guests and I say, who's gonna make big moves now? Who can we count on to shock the world? What do you
Paris
guys?
has yet to get any power though.
Oh,
at
yeah.
least at a point to make big moves. But I was trying to think of different reasons why Olivia would put up put up Hamza to begin with. Do you guys have any? I mean, okay, I get why he was voted out,
Right.
but why would she put him up in the first place?
So I guess Erica has been sort of planting that seed this week
to get Hamza out.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what it comes down to, right? Because Erica did say that Hamza, from day to day, from minute to minute, his emotions are always different. She said this to a couple of people, and she wasn't saying it from a game perspective. Ostensibly, she said it from minute to minute. I don't know what he's gonna say to me. And a lot of people took that as game talk, but I think she was talking about his personality. I mean, she obviously adores the man, but it's true. You never know from minute to minute what he's gonna do. So how can you rely on that as a partner in the house? What do you guys think? Like, I think that's the sole reason he went up on the block.
I agree, and I think that was probably the sole reason why he was evicted in the end.
But okay, so I'm thinking about this like for Olivia. So because Hamza and Erica are close, right?
Yeah, they're friends.
And Erica, Olivia, and Allie are working together, and they seem to be a pretty solid-ish group. So why wouldn't you like want to keep someone that you can still have as a number? But I'm interested to see what she's gonna say come Monday's episode during HOH on why she ended up choosing him. And I hope that it's not the BS reason that like Veronica did with saying, "Oh yeah, I'm really glad that I still did that rogue vote. I shook up the house, blah blah blah." Like I want like a legitimate reason. You know what I mean?
I think the reason is simply that the reason for me is that Hamza doesn't fall in line and become a number for anyone. What do you think, Shaun?
No, I think so. I think there's a lot to say there because the fear of unpredictability, like with some of those other players, just because I don't know him very well, and I've only seen this episode, but a lot of the times it seemed like if we're saying like, oh well, he's unpredictable, you never know what he's gonna do. See, to me, like as a player, I think that when you play the game, like you're purposely being unpredictable, but for him, it seemed like he was just very human and he's emotional, and maybe that was the unsettling thing is he wasn't playing the game.
Yeah.
He was just going. He was trying to be who he is, and that just didn't sit well with some of the people because the guy prays.
Yeah.
He prays. I'm like, he's a very straightforward guy.
Yeah, I thought that was actually very interesting. Like instead of talking game talk, he decided instead of going into the pantry, he decided that he was going to pray instead of making that decision. And I think I think that shows us the kind of person that Hamza is. He's very much emotional. He's very in tune with his spirituality, and that he wanted to go out being him and instead of gaming. Because I think at that point he knew he was leaving the house. But I think you're right. I think that he's just sort of this emotional guy, and who was really just being him, and it was his downfall.
Totally.
I think didn't we see the clip of him praying before the veto? Correct.
It was after
the
so.
veto. Before the veto.
It was before the veto.
Before. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I get it.
And by the way, he didn't get to play in that veto, correct? He wasn't.
He did. He
okay.
was.
So I mean, he did lose. So I mean, it's not like he was scumbagged, but
his God helped him get to the veto. How about that?
There you go. There you go.
Also,
he got to play.
Vetoes, I'd like to point out that Ryan has continued to play in every POV this entire season.
He's just lucky, man. It's the luck of the redheads.
No.
Not to be biased or anything, but Ryan is a real snake in the grass. Like I get a strong feeling that he is playing the game, like playing it, and if there's anyone that's unpredictable, it's Ryan.
I really wish that you had seen the first week because he was HOH and he was a hot it was oh man.
So
we'll talk about that later.
Ryan is Canada's dad. I feel like everything that is wrong with Ryan's game is because he's Canada's dad. He wants to like when he gets a microphone, he's just gonna say dad jokes and dad things, and it's gonna be the whole episode is gonna be him talking about what he thinks about the game because he's obviously the best that's ever played.
Oh God.
But yeah, I mean, fair play to him. He won the veto. I think he sets himself up well. I think he could make a deep run, you guys, because he didn't get scumbagged in the double eviction.
Yeah, but at this point in time, you have to realize he came in what was it? He came in the last two in the HOH, and then he won the veto.
Second in the HOH, first in veto.
That to me is very frightening and that's very threatening, and the fact that he's a floater and the fact that he's a snake, I would very much want to get rid of him.
See, okay, so here's the thing. I see a lot of myself in Ryan because he's no good physically, but in the mental comps he's a beast.
Right.
Do you think that somebody like that with his proclivity to want to talk all the time, do you think somebody like that can win the game? Do you think we could see Ryan in the final two?
Oh.
Unfortunately, I can see it.
Yeah, I mean, if he's, what do you think? Do you think anybody this season, you guys, is going to play the role of the diary room villain and go against the house? I guess we saw Fleur do that kind of, but it didn't really do anything.
Yeah, I think this season's been so interesting. I don't know if we're necessarily, other than Fleur, I don't know if we're necessarily going to be seeing that. Especially since now that Hams is out, like Ryan is probably the only candidate for that. And even then, I feel like he might have learned his lesson from week 1, and so he's not going to go in that direction as much.
Yeah. Do you think we start to see Johnny emerge and like take control of his game?
Yeah.
And get tired of being played by the women?
Yep. It's coming.
Yeah. All right. So Lou says that Storm Johnny is coming.
I would definitely. We saw that. Like we saw a very small snippet of that, kind of like how Shaun was pointing out, and during the HOH to Noms in the pantry, like when he was like, "Don't F me over on this," then he got real. Like he snapped. He got very like angry.
He's releasing that Wiccan energy on everybody. Like,
I think maybe he himself, he's kind of gotten in this game, but he's a very passive kind of person.
Right.
And I'm hoping like he's having some kind of an awakening because you really don't want to. You don't want to hold that stuff back, especially when you're playing a game like this, because it can backfire on you.
Yeah.
You really have to take control of that and time it. And I think he timed this one like really well.
Really well, because
you know what I mean.
Olivia was shocked that
Olivia was completely shooketh, and not only that, but I mean, we haven't seen like good diary room or like pantry drama since Ika Wong. You know, in the
all
pantry
praise
last,
be to Ika Wong.
So for me, watching that, like Johnny let out his claws, and I like that he does it in small dosages so that it doesn't become like a hindrance to his game where people are like, hey, Johnny gets his way, Johnny's snappy, Johnny's this, Johnny's that. I like it where he does it in small dosages when he really needs to make his point and really needs to make his move.
Right.
And I can't wait to see where that takes him as a player.
I'm so happy I drafted him, and I'm so happy you guys didn't get to draft him. I think
Whatever.
I think he might win the game. I honestly do.
I think the only people that you guys stole from me was Johnny and Allie that I wanted.
And now Allie has been more impressive to me. Like
Erica, goddamn.
Like, okay, Allie has been more impressive to me as the weeks go by. Like, she is really out to play. What do you guys think of Allie's game?
I said that.
Progressed?
I said that in last night's podcast. I'm definitely far more impressed with Allie's game. The more I watch her on the feed, she really has her finger on the pulse in this game, and she reminds me a lot of Cassandra, which we saw on the show. We saw Cassandra. Oh my god, I love her.
We did. That's right. Yeah, I'm really excited that Allie she had like a little bit of a misstep in the beginning, and she finally figured out her footing. So I'm really excited to see where she's going to go next.
You guys remember? Go ahead.
Is that one of the underdogs right now? Is Allie?
No. What were you gonna say, Jacob?
Do you guys remember? Because I forget what got her nommed in week 1 against Allie. She was nommed against.
She was one of the first people that dropped.
Okay.
Yeah. So Johnny nominated her. Remember?
Right.
She was it was just kind of easy thing. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it wasn't anything game related. It was just she dropped first, right?
Kind of thing.
Easy target.
Well, since you guys have already drafted your picks, I want to take over the slums of what's left. Can I have your 2 low. There are 2 low ones. I want the bottom of the barrel. Who is it?
See,
Okay, so
And
you
that's
can
like Marin. I'm okay with that.
you can have Marin and Ryan.
Shit. I don't want Ryan.
I don't want to give up Ryan. I don't want to give up Ryan.
I don't want Ryan. I'll take anyone else but Ryan. And
Who
not
does Daniel
Olivia.
have?
I have
I don't
Olivia.
want Olivia.
Okay, so we'll give. Okay, so I feel like since Daniel is gonna not be, unfortunately, not gonna be a regular part of this podcast just because of scheduling, I feel like it's fair to give Shaun Erica.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
No, you can't do that.
I'm taking Erica.
No.
Give
No,
me Erica.
because
Best
we'll all
player.
fight over it. We'll all fight over it.
No, you know what? I love it. I love the
No,
idea.
Shaun, okay.
Give him Erica.
So here's the thing. Okay, Shaun, you can have Erica if you will be on this podcast, like as a regular occurring member.
How about on evictions we get Shaun?
Yeah, okay. On eviction
On Thursdays.
Yep.
Thursdays.
And you get Erica, and you can have.
Who else does he have?
Let's see.
Marin.
He's
Marin.
got
Yeah,
Marin.
that's fine with me.
But who else does Daniel have?
You know what?
Um,
I love Marin more and more as just a person on a human level.
Yeah, he seems like a good human.
He's extremely well spoken. He's just has
He's
an
a
extremely
sweet
polite.
guy.
He's so nice, and I think that was a part of the reason why my heart was broken. Seeing him and Hamza on the block was just awful.
Yeah.
And then also, like, he begged Olivia, the way that he begged Olivia with his sad puppy eyes, please don't put Hamza on the block. It was just one of the most saddest things I've seen.
Yeah.
I really like him as a human being. Like,
Yeah.
But man, I want to see
wish
him
he
out
had
of this
done
game.
more though for campaigning, like to keep Hamza. Please don't put him on the block. Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, just please don't put him on. Like, but that once again, it's just a testament to his lack of a gameplay.
Overall, yeah.
Yeah. So,
that's my boy. You don't see it yet. He's coming around.
Okay, perfect. Marin's coming around. You heard it here first. You heard it here
goodness.
First. Any last thoughts, you guys, before we say Auf Wiedersehen until Monday?
I think I'm good. I don't really have anything else.
All right. What about
Awesome.
you, Lou? Anything?
Any HOH predictions? I really think. I mean, I hope. Okay, why don't we do? We hope, and who we think might get it, and who don't we want it to get it. So I personally, I hope Paris gets it. Obviously, I think it's going to be Erica, unfortunately, and I do not want Ryan to get HOH.
Okay. I want either Johnny or Ryan to get HOH because they're on my team, and I think Johnny might get HOH.
Okay. And who don't you want to get HOH?
I don't want to see Kayla get HOH.
Cool.
Interesting.
God, there's another Caleb in this one.
Kayla.
Oh, good. Kayla. Good. I can't handle another
Spelled
Caleb.
with an E for some reason. But,
So, I think for me, I would be happy to see. Why not Will? He hasn't really done anything yet.
okay, sure.
I don't know. I really like as long as I'm cool with Paris. You know what? I do like the idea of Paris finally getting something to help her out. So maybe I don't really have a strong prediction.
Yeah. I just don't want to see Dela win HOH.
Who don't you want to see, Kelly?
I don't want to see Ryan
I agree.
or Marin.
No,
Same.
Kelly. Marin's got me.
Why not? Because he has no gameplay.
You leave Marin alone and let him just evolve
He
like
would
a
honestly.
Pokemon.
He would go after. I feel like he would go after Olivia, Allie, and Erica. Like,
Oh, he absolutely would.
Yeah.
so yeah,
Yep.
that would lead to a very boring week.
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like that would be exciting. I think to get to see Erica sweat a little bit, but
He might not. He might not go after. If Marin wins HOH, he might not go after Erica solely because, like,
they've been friendly.
She was. Yeah, they've been. Hamza and Erica were friends. She was the only vote to not evict Hamza, and I'm pretty sure she seemed like visibly pissed off that Hamza was up on the block.
Yeah, she looked furious that Hamza was up on the block.
Wait, no, she wasn't. I mean, did she not know he was gonna get backdoored?
But did you see the look she was giving the entire house?
I don't know.
I'll have to go back and check.
Did you guys talk about how much time we got? No time left.
I don't know. What do you want to talk about?
What do you want?
Veronica? Is it Veronica that got evicted?
The first one that got evicted?
Yes.
Oh,
But her spiel, her eviction spiel.
oh yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I just like so. She's been such an interesting card with, public speaking, and like that last one was kind of cute because she tried to put a little pun in there. But other than that, she sucks at speaking.
Yeah, she really does. She really does.
Oh,
She
man.
sucks at a lot of things. I feel like she sucks at the Big Brother game, but that's just me.
Yeah. I'm glad. Sorry, I'm glad
Yeah.
that she's out. I would like to say that I think that Good Feeds has taken a pretty strong hit this week.
Yeah. Hey, Plur, just so you know, you're welcome to come on next week's podcast if you want.
Yeah, well, yeah. Hopefully, we can, collaborate with Joel a little bit soon next week, sometime.
Spoilers!
Spoilers! But yeah.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you for bearing with us. It's been an exciting episode, and we'll be back Monday, correct? Monday
Yes.
for the HOH? Perfect.
Awesome.
All right, let's do this.
See you later, guys.
Bye.